meeting to order. Can you all hear me okay? All right, awesome. Thank you. I'll turn it over to Andrew Paredes. And before I do that, my name's Anthea Martin. I'm chair of the State Housing Board. It's our second meeting of the month. I will go ahead and turn it over to Andrew Paredes now for an introduction.
So this is Michelle Mitchell at TEC.
Hello, Anthea. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thanks for taking time for the State Housing Board meeting today. We have, excuse me, 3 projects and a program, a home ownership program to present today. Very excited that we are really beginning to get traction on our utilization and awarding of Proposition 123 funds and resources. Excited that 3 of our 4 projects today touch on home ownership, albeit traditional single-family townhome home ownership or mobile home park home ownership and preservation. All kind of the down-the-middle intended uses of Prop 123 as voted on by the taxpayers. So I don't want to belabor this anymore. Would love to pass it along to Bailey to get started on the program and project presentation.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. It is my pleasure to be able to introduce Sharon she is the housing policy manager for the city and county of Broomfield, and I will pass it off to you.
Thank you. I am super excited to be here. I just wanted to actually thank you, Bailey, for all of your time and energy in assisting Broomfield with our application process. I made a few notes. I put a presentation. I can share my screen or I could just talk. It's up to you. What do you guys think?
It's up to you. I can stop presenting if you'd like to share.
Okay, let's do that. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so I said my thank you. I just wanted to share a little bit about who the City and County of Broomfield Housing Division is. My name is Sharon Tessier, and I am the Housing Policy Manager here, and I've been in my position for about a year. And prior to, I was the Housing Programs Manager. So CCOB, City and County of Broomfield for short, works within a holistic paradigm. We take a strengths-based approach to a person-centered organization, utilizing upstream approaches to, start at the root of the issue. And within the last 5 years, the City and County of Broomfield has brought in about 300 units of affordable rental, serving below 60%, up to 60% AMI. We have 28 townhomes that sold at 80% AMI and 48 more on the way. We established our inclusionary housing ordinance, which is our sole source of programmatic and development funding source for the housing division. Which means we don't get any general fund money. We have to pay our way. And so the next slide, let's see. I'm hoping. Okay. Yes. So in last year, July of 2023, we had our housing needs assessment completed by Root Policy. And one of the recommendations was to engage in and create a down payment assistance program for middle income earners earning between 80 and 100% AMI, and to contribute to a diversification of housing stock, and provide opportunities for those that are not quite in that market bracket to become homeowners in the City and County of Broomfield. And so last at the end of last year, we went in front of the city council and we proposed a new down payment assistance program. And the city council did approve our program. We dedicated $1 million for the 2024 down payment assistance program, and are prepared to appropriate another $1 million in 2025 should the council approve. This is the first down payment assistance program for Broomfield, and we're just meeting the needs for our middle income earners to successfully attain home ownership, to begin in their wealth building, generational wealth building. We understand that the Division of Housing will serve up to 120% AMI. And of course, we would like to continue to prioritize our 180 to 100, but we'll absolutely look at the whole spectrum that the Division of Housing is asking us to look at for home buyers. We believe that the home owners program, or this down payment assistant, will provide long-term solutions and financial sustainability to many of our interested home buyers. And we believe that this investment into our community is the best for a successful, cost-effective program. We are using CHAC, the Colorado Housing Assistance Corporation, to administer our program, and I have invited Michelle Mitchell with CHAC to provide some information should anybody have questions here. The housing division is a team of 2 right now, so we do not have the capacity to administer this program on our own. And after a lot of research and interviews, CHAC was ultimately the partner we wanted to go with because of their expertise in the subject matter and just their long-standing history in being able to provide down payment assistance to many different municipalities across Colorado. And our program, we have begun marketing our program. We have our program, and then we are clearly, applying to receive Proposition 123 funds, and depending on whether or not we're awarded these funds will depend on which program we market. There was a lot of alignment with the DOH, Division of Housing's requirements, and we are flexible to meet all of those requirements. But our marketing program will include bus stop ads, Enterprise, which is our local newspaper ad. We have working with our communications teams. We've created new social graphics specifically for our housing division to market these programs. We have monthly newsletters that go out from the city manager's office through small business and economic vitality, as well as the communication department. And we also have advertisements in our rec center fall program guide. So we're really prepared to hit the ground running should we be honored enough to receive awards from Prop 123. Now, our program also would include home buyer education classes, application intake and review, title searches, credit reports, appraisals, lead paint abatement, all of the wonderful things we learned from working with HUD and home consortium dollars. And lastly, no, I have 2 more slides. The original plan was for this to be a 30-year repayable loan, deferred with a 2% interest if Broomfield were to use our own funds. We understand that Division of Housing has a 0% interest, and we are absolutely happy to accommodate that requirement. Broomfield is asking that home buyers provide up to $2,500 in closing costs, and we do understand that DOH requires $1,000 to meet Prop 123 requirements, and that's how we would market our program. And the loan would be toward down payment assistance costs only. It would not be used to buy down interest points or provide cash out financing. And the home buyer eligibility would be that the home buyers have up to 120% of the AMI. And income qualification is based on current income, including all sources, and all members of the household 18 and above, or anyone receiving income. And one of the nice things in Broomfield is that we have our inclusionary housing ordinance, which has been able to bring in some more townhomes that we hadn't had in the past 5 or so years. And we have 32 townhomes that were sold at 80% AMI and 48 more on the way. We're working with a particular developer now with 16 of those units, and would love to pair the townhomes with this down payment assistance program. We just think the timing is perfect for it. And you know, we are hoping to hit the ground running, and should we, you know, not be one of the municipalities awarded, we would proceed with our current down payment assistance program ASAP. We would hope that even, you know, our hope is that we do become one of the awardees of this funding. We would still hit the ground running and make sure that our down payment assistance program matched, you know, DOH's requirements. And we would utilize Prop 123 funds for the down payment, and the City and County of Broomfield would use some of our own funding to pay the administrative costs for having CHAC be the subrecipient, well, the administrator of our program. And of course, CHAC would adhere to all of the loan approval denial processes of the programs. And I don't know if I said too much or not enough, but that is all I have, and I am available for questions.
Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate your presentation. Are there any questions from the board? Sam?
You're muted, Sam.
You know, after several years, you'd think I'd learn to unmute the damn thing. Anyway, thank you so much, Sharon, for the presentation. It was a very good presentation. It's always exciting launching a new program. And I have just really a couple brief questions. One is, what do you expect to be the biggest barriers, you know, for the program, you know, moving forward? And secondly, what have you done specifically as an organization to market the program to those groups least likely to apply?
Great questions. We feel like right now, you know, our biggest barrier might be in our marketing approach. And so that's why we contacted our communications team and are really trying to work with all local partners in sharing information about this particular program. We work with over 40 different nonprofits and organizations who address housing security. And so we meet monthly for our Housing Solutions Forum and update each other with different programs and information about the programs and provide marketing materials for them to distribute. So my answer to that, to both of your questions, is kind of rolled into one response, because the biggest barrier is reaching out to those hard to reach home buyers. But I feel like through 10 years of grassroots efforts and building relationships with all of our community housing partners, we are able to move quickly and swiftly and cohesively to ensure that everybody gets to know about these programs.
This is Michelle from CHAC, and I'm sorry I'm on the phone, but the other thing I think that I see is that the $2,500 initial buy-in is probably fairly reasonable, but your buyers are still going to have issues sometimes with closing costs and prepaids. CHAC is in a position to do another layer of financing for people who are eligible and find that additional $2,500 or so to be an impediment. So I think that's one of the things that is out there, is that CHAC is perfectly willing to come in third position if it's needed for another layer of financing.
Thank you, Ms.
Thanks, Michelle.
Sharon, I cannot believe that an average price of a home is $842,000. I think I'm still in shock at that number. I love that there's this down payment assistance program that you all are working so hard to put together here. What have you had conversations with first mortgage lenders? What are their thoughts on you all coming in second position here with this? And will you have some sort of exit fee, like upon sale or even at closing? Is there an origination fee or anything that you're taking on this loan?
Currently there is no origination fee. All of the lenders that we're working with are really excited about this program, because this helps them truly reach that 80 to 100% AMI home buyers who would have been priced out. And just for clarification, I think you may have quoted Boulder's average home price. Our average home price is about $650,000 at this point. So we have a little, I guess, more leeway, considering that most of the townhomes are at the price point between 500 and 700,000, and those that are deed restricted anyway. So we have our deed restriction townhomes to use in pair with this program. And we haven't really talked about origination fees, but that's something that I would need to, learn more about and have more conversations about if we decided to go down that route.
Got it. Thank you.
And I don't know if Michelle has anything to add.
No, and again, I apologize because I'm on the phone, but I think, it depends a little bit on which money is going to be used, if it's Prop 123 or if it's Broomfield set aside. It depends on how they want to structure it. I think if you're asking $2,500 to potential buyers put in on their own for down payment, that's a fairly significant thing. Clearly, there will be some additional fees, recording fees and things like that will eventually get charged to the buyers, whether that's as part of the whole closing or if that's an additional piece. And we need to be careful that we disclose that as part of the down payment assistance process. So we haven't talked about it specifically. I think that's kind of a Broomfield question. I know they wanted to limit the cost to the buyers, and that does end up being a closing cost. So it's something we certainly can talk about.
Okay. Thank you both. Thank you for the presentation. Well, next up is Bridget's Village, and presenting is Matt Long. And if I can remind all presenters, please to limit presentations to 1 to 2 minutes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon. Just to give a quick overview on this project, you've already seen this. State Housing Board already approved 1.6 million of HDG funding back in the December 19th meeting. Andrew actually was the housing development specialist on the project since I was new and ramping up. And at that time, we were recommending a hair over $2 million when they asked for 2.4 million. But it made sense because HDG funding was running down and we had this extra bucket of money from CDBG CV to split the application in two. And so the DOH application from the beginning has been for a hair over $2 million. And again, you've already approved 1.6 million from the HDG. And so today is to specifically talk about the remaining 450,000 associated with CDBG CV funding. Hopefully that made sense, but I will now hand it over to Ryan and John with Bridget's Village.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan Jones, a consultant on this project, working with John Peterson, who is the developer and sponsor, who's also partnering with Bridget's Village, a local nonprofit in Frederick. Since you all have seen this project before, I'll just recap real quick. It's a 40-unit, 9% deal for families targeting an intergenerational community in Frederick. And the partnership is also augmented by Blue Line Development, who will be the property manager, also consultant along with myself. And so John and Bridget's Village they've assembled a good team around them, and hopefully we'll get here to closing pretty quickly in May, as June is the carryover deadline. But we greatly appreciate Matt and Andrew working with us and the rest of the staff, both Andrews, in splitting these awards up. I know it's not convenient or efficient for you all, but the investor really needed one of those commitments, that larger chunk ahead of time. And this 450,000 will certainly help us to that end goal there. So certainly willing to answer any questions you may have on this piece.
Thank you, Ryan. Any questions from the board? Ryan, I'll start by asking about the gap. It looks like there's a gap of about 200,000. Can you talk a little bit about that and let us know how confident you are that value engineering will solve for that gap? And if it doesn't, perhaps if someone's willing to fund it, they're writing a check.
Sure, you bet. Yeah, we're working on that right now. And of course, it's a combination of both sides of the coin on the cost side. And we're also talking to a local foundation who might be able to help there. Another option is continuing to work with a town who has already expressed a lot of pretty significant support for this already, and getting whatever else we can get waived. We're not sure if that'll happen, but in terms of local fees, as you all know, the water tap and fees, the water shares are pretty expensive there, and those cannot be waived, but we might be able to get some more relief on some permit fees and otherwise. So we're looking at it from both sides of the coin, and I'm certain we'll get there one way or the other.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Great, thanks, Ryan. Good to see you.
Sure, good to see everyone. Thank you so much.
Next up is Sawmill Meadows Villas, and presenting with Andrew Ackley.
So to present Sawmill Meadows, thanks, Anthea, sorry. To present Sawmill Meadows, we've got, I'm not sure that I saw Don Melgaris on the call yet, but we do have Matt Dorsett, the developer, on the project. And I have heard his presentation a couple times, so I'm sure he can handle it. Take it away, Matt.
Sure. I'm hoping I turned my camera on, but it doesn't appear that it's come back on yet. Can everybody hear me?
We can.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah. So Don Melgares with the San Luis Valley Housing Coalition is our partner. partially to pre-qualify buyers, and the other is down payment assistance. But I guess I should introduce myself, Matt Dorsett. I'm a civil engineer by training and by trade. I've been working for 27 years in land development in the North Texas area. My wife has been coming to Southern Colorado since she was a girl. She spent summers there, so we have a great love for the area. We've been coming to South Fork for 20 years plus, and built a home there in 2015, kind of fell in love with the community. In 2022, so 2 years ago, we were approaching empty nest status. We were a year out, and so we started trying to think about what our second half of life looked like, and a lot of it revolved around South Fork, but we didn't want to come and take without giving. We kind of sought a purpose in South Fork, and to that end, well, I'll tell you that what really sparked it was seeing all the lack of workers in the retail market and in restaurants and things, and we just started noticing restaurants closing and lack of workers. So we ended up, and this is a long story, but in short form, we started a 501c3 nonprofit gap year program that's based out of the Spruce Lodge in South Fork. We just wrapped up our first year, and those gap attendees come in and get life skills training, discipleship, and work in the community to help with employment needs. Shortly after we started the gap, we became aware of South Fork's desperate need for workforce housing. They had been trying for a couple of years. When I found that out, we partnered with the town, and I offered my. I'm not a developer, but I'm playing one here. I've worked as a developer's engineer for 27 years, but I partnered with the town, offered my land for the project, and have been working with the town of South Fork and Andrew ever since. We were awarded a $1.9 million IHOI grant last March. And we now have homes on the ground. We're 3 months away from delivering homes. Our goal is to deliver them on July 1st. We have a pretty hefty marketing presence through social media. I think the last count I got in the last 3 months, we've gotten almost 200 prospective buyers registered on our list. And in fact, the very first person that has submitted an application to the Housing Coalition is an employee of the town of South Fork, a maintenance worker. So we're pretty excited to be able to serve those types of folks. If we're considered and approved for this additional funding, we're going to be able to offer the homes at 100% AMI. Obviously, per the Prop 123, right now we're at 120%. And just say that we're working through the covenants, but the idea is that we have limited appreciation covenants in perpetuity, and obviously the AMI limit as well. We are doing the first 10 units shown on that graphic due July 1st, and then we're shortly going to be starting the larger building, which is 20 rental units. And that's according to the Valley-wide study that was done that was kind of spearheaded by the Housing Coalition. That's exactly what our needs are in South Fork over the next few years is 20 rental units and 10 for sale units. So we're excited to bring this project in, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. Great story. Appreciate that. Any questions from the board? Dan.
Thank you, Anthea. Matt, great presentation. Thanks very much. What has been the neighbors' acceptance of the project?
That's a great question. The community has been incredibly supportive. We have not gotten any negative comments. There was a big turnout at the final approval at the Board of Trustees. We probably had, and I think it might have been a couple of different topics on the agenda, but we probably had 60 people there on the night that it was formally approved, and we didn't get any pushback. And I think that was partially because I was very proactive in hearing the feedback and seeing it online, the questions that people had. So when we went to the Board of Trustees, I was able to kind of debunk or provide data to contradict any concerns. And so we had zero speak out against it. And I would just say overall that the community is very supportive.
Great, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Thank you all for your time.
Andrew?
Yeah, before we move on to the next project, just want to let the folks know that we are indeed recording this meeting, and our recording is includes the Spanish, the English to Spanish written captions. So when this gets posted on our DOH website later on this week, go ahead,
May
Adam.
include the Spanish translation.
Say that again.
It may include the Spanish translation. Our hope is that it will. So we have it turned on, but we don't know if it's actually attaching to the recording.
So please do, if you're looking for a translated version of the meeting, check back to our website by the end of the week to see the recording. And, you know, our intent is that it will have the Spanish translation there. We're doing everything we can.
And in the future, Andrew, if somebody would like Spanish translation, how far in advance does it need to be requested?
I believe that the special accommodations requests are, I believe that it's posted by Friday so that we can make the meetings, you know, the accommodation for the Tuesday meetings.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, last but not least, Capital City Mobile Home Park Community presenting today. Can they get the next slide, please? As Demetra English.
Thank you, Anthea. With us today to present the Capital City project is Stephanie Fox, Ed Anderson, and Dre Paraboga Floor. There it is.
Is that my cue?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Ed Anderson was not able to make it. His father's in the hospital. So I have Dre is here along with one of the residents of the Capital City Mobile Home Park, Janice Salazar. And Dre would be able to translate any questions and answers that you all might have for as a resident of the community. So Dre is here to translate as well. My name is Stephanie Fox, and I'm the program director of Sharing Connection, and I have had the privilege to head up the project of our nonprofit, which our goal is to acquire the Capital City Mobile Home Park as a benevolent interim owner of the park on behalf of the residents there. Our mission at Sharing Connection is to help affordable housing providers and nonprofits with real estate expertise, funding, and preservation. So this falls under our real estate rescue program. And our goal in acquiring this, the residents did assign their opportunity to purchase, which is in the state of Colorado legislation. They assigned that right to Sharing Connection back in September of 2023. So we could act as a partnership to give them enough time to organize, fundraise, and to ultimately be able to take over as owners, as a resident-owned mobile home community. Sharing Connection has worked over the past 8 months. I was introduced to this project through the city of Denver. The property was for sale on the open market, and an investor did put an offer on this property. The residents were given notice of this, but they were very organized through Dre's organization 9 to 5 at the time, and were empowered to be to want to buy this and be a resident-owned community. They just didn't have enough time to make that happen. So we felt it would be a good partnership for us to come in and play that role, given our real estate background, and also just patience and giving the residents as much time as they needed. Although our agreement does not have a deadline, we anticipate the residents we would transfer the ownership back to them within a 3-year period. That is not a hard and fast deadline. We have worked to build a capital stack for this project. The sales price is $11.5 million. We are requesting from DOLA $2.5 million. The closing is set for next month, but these funds would be, we would pay off some of our nonprofit lenders with the funding, because this would give us a much lower rate and be beneficial for the residents. In terms of the capital so far, we have a $6.25 million agency loan that is pending approval with Fannie Mae. We have $1.5 million committed from Impact Development Fund. We have another $1.5 million from a nonprofit wealth building cooperative called Seed Commons, which is very interested in the resident-owned community model. We have a $250,000 loan from the Denver Foundation as well, and also a $250,000 grant from the Katali Foundation, which has already been received. We anticipate that during this process, after we take ownership, the residents are already undergoing training with community wealth building to understand their options as a resident-owned community. Would it be a co-op or a community land trust? They have already formed a resident board. They have monthly meetings. So we know that this community and the stakeholders involved and the partners we have, this project is really poised for success and to hopefully be a blueprint for other mobile home park owners. And I forgot to mention at the beginning, this park is located in the Westwood community of Denver. There are approximately 280 residents here, approximately 80 families that would be risked being displaced by redevelopment of the park if this corporate owner was to succeed in their purchase opportunity. Some people have lived there 3 decades. It's a very tightly woven, close-knit, culturally rich community that we want to preserve.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Are there any questions from the board? LaDawn.
Hi, I have a question from Janet, the community member who's here. I would just like to know how long she's lived in the community and what she's excited about as far as this partnership.
Janet, la pregunta es ¿por cuánto tiempo ha vivido en el parque y qué es algo que te emociona sobre este proyecto y seguir viviendo ahí?
Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Janet y mi familia y yo tenemos alrededor de 6 años viviendo en esta maravillosa comunidad. Y lo que me emociona de seguir viviendo aquí es que pues es una comunidad maravillosa. Para mí es importante seguir viviendo ahí. Yo trabajo ahí en la comunidad y trabajo para la gente de mi comunidad. También me relaciono con esta gente, disfruto mucho estar en mi comunidad y soy parte de esta comunidad, por lo que quiero seguir viviendo aquí. Entonces me emociona continuar aquí porque es un patrimonio que podemos dejar para especialmente para mis hijos y pues es algo en lo que ellos podrían continuar viviendo.
My name is Janet. I've lived in the park for about 6 years with my family. It's a marvelous community, and the reason why I want to continue living there is that I actually work in the community. I work for the community of Westwood, and so I have a lot of relationships there. And I really am part of this community here. And it also is an opportunity for us to be able to actually pass down our home to our kids so that they can also continue living here in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Sam?
Thank you. So, Stephanie, what will the lot rents be after the acquisition is completed?
We are, our plan is to leave the lot rents at the current amount that they are, which is $8.95 per month. And how we've modeled this is that if they were to be raised at all, it would not be more than 2% a year. And by law, the rents can only go up one time a year.
The lots come out to, on the sale price of the 11.5 million that you had indicated, a little over 143,000 per lot. Is that traditional in these parks? It just seems kind of like a lot of money for a very tiny piece of land.
It is with this asset type. You know, one of the challenges going forward, a lot of people didn't think that the appraisal would come out based on just traditional approaches, but being that, you know, most of these investors go into it and look at it as like a cash cow, you know, the monthly rents and what they're getting. It does look a little bit different on paper than any, you know, affordable housing pro formas.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Great, thanks. Thank you, Stephanie and Dre and Janet, for your presentation today. Next, we will move on to the voting stage of the meeting. I will need to recuse myself from the Capital City project, so why don't we go ahead and start with that one? If I can request a motion for approval for Capital City Mobile Home Park.
So moved. This is Ladon.
Second.
Thanks, Ladon. Thanks, Sam. All those in favor signified by aye or a hand raise.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Passes. Congratulations. Next, we'll do in a group the remaining transactions, and you'll have to bear with me while I pull up the names of them. It seems to have left my screen here.
I can include it in the motion.
Thank you. I was just going to say, someone help me out here. Thanks, Ladon.
I make a motion to approve funding for City and County of Broomfield, Brigitte's Village, and Sawmill Meadow Villas.
I'll second that motion by Ladon. This is Candace.
Great. Thank you, Ladon and Candace, for the second. All those in favor signified by aye or a hand raise.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. Those all pass as well. Thank you all for attending the meeting today. Appreciate your involvement and look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Great
you all.
project. Happy Easter.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. So
Thank you,
appreciate it.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.